Hey y'all, welcome to The Glitch. It's Friday. I'm Jen, your friendly farm girl philosopher, and it's Friday. So that means it's philosophy, framework. Still haven't quite decided what would be best there, because this is kind of both. Just takeaways more than anything, but that's not alliteration with Friday. The cancel culture, the internet mob, is like a bully on the playground. And we each are going to have to ask ourselves, are we going to stand with the bully, or are we going to stand with the one being bullied? It's a real simple question. The victim is not always who it appears to be at first. So we need to be willing to look at both sides of that and examine it, see if the victim really is who the mob says it is. Internet anonymity. Just the ease with which we can say whatever the hell we want to whoever the hell we want. That just leads to trolling. It leads to saying things just to get a rise out of people. It leads to the whole Karen mentality that you're gonna go after someone just because you can. That doesn't make it right. So my philosophy is to take a beat before you post. That was the other day's challenge, Write out what you're going to comment and then delete it all. I'm not saying you need to delete it every time. I'm not saying that at all. Just at least take a beat. Read back over it. Check for spelling errors, grammar errors. Make sure that what you're trying to say is clear. Make sure it's not an attack. Make sure it's not a fallacy. If you genuinely seek conversation with someone, often it's better to just message them direct, not to comment on their post. I commented on a post of a friend of mine that we don't always agree on political things, and we certainly don't have the same worldview. But he posted something, and this is someone I know in real life. He posted something that I thought, there's no way he can be that dumb. And so I commented, and then there was a misunderstanding in the comments, and somebody that likes to jump on his post and prove what a big man he is decided he was going to come after me, and he was posting all these GIFs and whatnot, GIFs, whatever they're called. And what really impressed me about it, though, was that after that whole thing was over, and I just kind of blew it off and look, I'm not going to try to have this conversation if there's going to be name calling and there's going to be all this kind of stuff. And he actually called me and, said, hey, I wasn't trying to call you names. What are you talking about? And we had a conversation. Like I said, our worldviews do not line up in very many places. But we have respect for each other as individuals. And we're willing to discuss things without the name calling and without all that. So the miscommunication, the misunderstanding, it was solved. And I really appreciated the fact that he called me to make sure that was resolved. I think that's something that we all need to do a little more. It's really hard to hear tone of voice in a comment. Everything is a balance. You have to balance speaking out versus silence, versus self-censorship. You want to censor your arguments that might actually be ad hominem attacks, but you still want to speak out and have a valid argument. You don't want to be rude. You want to censor that out so that you can have a productive conversation. Being politically correct often leads to very unclear language. So be clear with your language. That's the reason I use this paper dictionary. Because language changes all the time, and I get that all the time, and I get that, and I understand that. But often, it changes at the whim of one group, and that's not how the language is supposed to shift. It's supposed to be more of a consensus idea of what that word means, rather than some particular group rewriting a definition. So my philosophy, the reason I do this, the reason I'm trying to do this, it's basically the idea that if I can influence 10 people to be able to truly think for themselves and to know what the facts are, what the reality is, what the logic is that leads to a conclusion that is then they can classify as truth, and they know why they believe that thing, and they know how it influences their worldview, and how those things can shift culture, and how that can shift politics, and society as a whole becomes more unified when you know those things and you can see that it's okay if somebody else doesn't agree. They're an individual and they're entitled to their own opinions. So if I can influence 10 people, then maybe they can influence 10 people, and they can influence 10 people, and before you know it, maybe we have a culture that is more accepting of different views. Maybe we have more unity within our society. I don't know that it'll mushroom like that. Probably not. Got 1 billion people out there. Well, at least 1 million with podcasts, vlogs, whatever the hell this thing is called. But that's my goal. That's my philosophy. I hope you'll carry it on. But if you don't want to, fine. That's your choice. So my last challenge for the week, Friday's challenge, is just start looking at the cancel mobs, the cancel culture, and see if you can see things from the canceled person's perspective. If you can, you're looking at the person who is being canceled and see if there's some way that you can accept that, whatever it was they did, or if you can see that it wasn't really meant the way that the cancel mob is saying it was meant. Just try to see things from their perspective. That's all. That's all I got. So for this week, this is me. And I will see you next week. Bye.